Hello there and welcome to today's video. Today we are going to look at the steps of becoming a nurse in New Zealand. So are you a nurse who has credentials and you are thinking of practicing abroad? Rather, you are thinking about the processes that have become very expensive, very lengthy, and perhaps you have not heard about New Zealand. So this country called New Zealand is a country that is less talked about, but it is a wealthy country, and a country that is very beautiful. You might also be surprised to know that New Zealand is one of the countries that pays nurses the highest in the world, with an average salary of about 75,000 New Zealand dollars. So, to become a nurse in New Zealand is a good thing. It is a rewarding experience. And let's look at the steps of becoming a nurse in New Zealand. Otherwise, at the end of the video, I believe you'll be surprised at how how short this process can be, as well as how smooth the process can be, as well as the few steps that are involved in the entire process. So the first thing that you need to do, as for many countries, is to evaluate your eligibility. And for you to become a nurse in New Zealand, you have to be registered by the Nursing Council of New Zealand, which requires an educational qualification that is equivalent to a degree nurse in nursing education in New Zealand. So probably you did a diploma. It must meet similar educational qualifications as a degree in New Zealand for you to register in New Zealand with New Zealand Nursing Council. And you should have practiced nursing for 2 years within the past 5 years that you are registered as a nurse. Having met the requirements for eligibility, you need now to go and pass the English test exam. You can do either OET or IELTS, and for the purpose of this video, we have used IELTS. The IELTS for New Zealand requires you to get a 7 in speaking, 7 in listening, 7 in reading, and a 6.5 in writing. So if you want to pass IELTS, you can contact these guys, this number, and they are going to direct you on how you can pass IELTS and actualize your journey of becoming a nurse in New Zealand. So after passing the English exam, the next step is to do document validation or document verification. You need to register with cgfns New Zealand, and cgfns New Zealand is going to evaluate your documents and say that this is a real person, this is someone who went to a school of nursing, this is someone who has been registered in their country as a registered nurse, and they are going to give a report to the Nursing Council of New Zealand. So the report from the cgfns can be either positive or negative. It can state that you qualify to register in New Zealand as a nurse, or you don't qualify to register in New Zealand as a nurse. So in case, if the report says that you qualify to register in New Zealand as a nurse, you go to the next step. So let's hold a bit on that one, then we shall come back to it later. So let's assume that the cgfns has evaluated you and they have said that you do not qualify to get registered in New Zealand. Say that your educational qualifications do not match what is required in New Zealand. What are you going to do? So they allow you to do a program called CAP, that is a competency assessment program, which you're going to do in New Zealand for about 6 to 12 weeks. So you're going to be attached with a center that offers CAP for 6 to 12 weeks, and this will be at your cost, unfortunately. And once you have completed the CAP, then since your report will be stating what you should study, then you're going to qualify to gain registration with the Nursing Council of New Zealand. So let's say you have been cleared by the cgfns, either through a therapist whereby your education qualifications allow you, or you have done a CAP. The next step will be to register with the Nursing Council of New Zealand. And the reason for registering with the Nursing Council of New Zealand is so that you can get registration and to become a nurse in New Zealand, because you need to be registered as a nurse in New Zealand for you to practice. So the Nursing Council of New Zealand, abbreviated as NCNZ or NCNZ, is the one that is going to register you. And it's also good to note that nurses who are in Australia, who are practicing nursing in Australia, will be exempted from registering with the cgfns. They will just apply directly to the Nursing Council of New Zealand, and they are going to be registered as nurses and start practicing in New Zealand. So the moment you have been registered by the Nursing Council of New Zealand, NCNZ, then you're going to apply for a job online. There are many jobs that are advertised online, and then once you get the job, you start the process of getting a visa. And once you get a visa, you migrate to New Zealand. You're going to get a worker visa. That is a work it has a work permit, allows you to work in New Zealand, and then you go to New Zealand and start working. So in summary, you need to do majorly two things. You need to do the English exam and to register with cgfns. Those two major things, and then you'll be able to go to New Zealand and practice as a nurse in New Zealand. So I would encourage nurses to try this new pathway if you have not heard of it before, or if you have heard of it and you don't know how to start the process. You can contact us via this number that is given here, and we are going to help you to do the whole process of New Zealand and become a nurse in New Zealand within a short while. The only thing that may delay your process is if your document verification takes longer, but there are other ways of ensuring that you get your document verification report as soon as possible and you become a nurse in New Zealand. So the world is calling, New Zealand is calling for nurses. New Zealand needs nurses. They need you. Start the process and become a nurse in New Zealand and practice in New Zealand and in New Zealand dollars. So until we meet in the next video, if you have any concerns or comments, just leave them in the comment section and we are going to address them accordingly. Thank you.